day, Ada was returning from her mother's shop when she saw two teenage girls fighting. She quickly went over and separated them. Stop it! Why are you girls fighting? Ada asked. This girl here has stolen my boyfriend, the first girl said. You two are still very young to be fighting because of a man. Fighting doesn't solve anything. Ada said. Mind your business, Blackie. You that is old. Do you have anybody? The second girl asked. It is true. You can't even relate. So we should stay till we are old so we can end up like you, right? Please leave us alone, the first girl said. Ada was too shocked to say a word. Somewhere in the east, there was a girl named Ada. She had very dark skin and she was beautiful, but the other people around the town didn't think that way. They thought she was too black and her nickname was Blackie. They always used her skin color to insult her whenever arguments came up, and Ada became angry and sad. She was 23 years old and her mother called her aside, asking her when she would get married. Ada, you know you are no longer a kid. You need to get married. But I don't see that happening with this your color. Everyone keeps saying you are too black. I got this for you. Her mother, Nkechi said and handed her a bag. Ada opened it and was shocked to see a lightning cream. Mama, Ada said, I can't believe you would give me a lightning cream. Are you saying I'm not good enough? No, that's not what I'm saying. Look at Mr. Bride's daughter. She is too fat and nobody will want to marry her. Unfortunately, it is the same thing with you. Just use the cream for a while. When you get married, you can stop using the cream, Nkechi said. Ada couldn't believe her own mother would say this to her. She knew she was not a mistake, and her creator knew what he was doing when he made her. She was beautifully made, and she would never change her skin color for anything in the world. She wondered why there was colorism in her own land. She was just a darker shade. Yet, they would look down on her and say she wasn't beautiful. They changed her name from Blackie to Burnt Yam to Charcoal and back to Blackie again. Ada was fed up with their tantrums, but she didn't let them stop her from living her normal life. Ada's sister, Kamsi, who was 2 years younger than her, got engaged. Nkechi called her daughter again to have a conversation with her. You see, your sister is almost 22 and she has a suitor. You can't let her get married before you. It will be a shame. Why are you not using the cream I got you? Nkechi asked her daughter. I will never bleach my skin, Mama. I am beautifully made by God. Ada said. Since you are so beautiful, why have the men not come to seek your hand in marriage? Answer me, Nkechi said, getting angry. Why are you so obsessed with marriage? When the time is right, I will get married, Ada said. If I didn't get married, how will I have you and your sisters? Your father will be turning in his grave, saying that Kamsi is getting married before you. People are starting to talk. Do you want to put me to shame? Nkechi asked. I do not care what people have to say. I will not touch my beautiful skin. I am a black diamond. Ada stood her ground. I will be giving you 3 months to use that cream, and if you don't use it, then your sister will officially tie the knot while you remain here at home, and I promise you, this house will be too hot for us, Nkechi said and walked away. Ada ignored her mother. She focused on Kamsi and helped her prepare for her wedding. She wouldn't let her mother make her feel envious of Kamsi. 3 months passed, and Ada still refused to use the cream. Kamsi and her husband got married, and it was an emotional moment for all of them. Now, it was the last born, Uju, that was left with Ada and her mother. Uju was only 19 years old. One day, Ada was returning from her mother's shop when she saw two teenage girls fighting. She quickly went over and separated them. Stop it! Why are you girls fighting? Ada asked. This girl here has stolen my boyfriend, the first girl said. You two are still very young to be fighting because of a man. Fighting doesn't solve anything. Ada said. Mind your business, Blackie. You that is old. Do you have anybody? The second girl asked. It is true. You can't even relate. So we should stay till we are old so we can end up like you, right? Please leave us alone, the first girl said. Ada was too shocked to say a word. She couldn't believe such small girls could disrespect her like that. She went home and told her mother everything. I will go and speak to their mothers about this. Imagine what those two brats said to me. Ada lamented bitterly. And so, did they lie? You two get married now, so nobody can tell you that. Nkechi said. Mama, Ada said in shock. She was disappointed in her mother and went to her room to cry. She hoped that one day, God would put all those that had mocked her to shame. It was December, and a lot of people came to the town to celebrate with their families. There were lots of rich people from the city, and Ada was fascinated to see the rich cars and people. One of them got interested in Ada. His name is Peter, and he was an agent for a modeling agency. He met with Ada and asked if she was interested in being a model. He was positive that with her stature and complexion, she would make a perfect model. Ada declined. She didn't think that she would want that, but Peter managed to convince her to give it a try. After the festive season, she followed him to the city and he trained her on how to be a model. Ada was a natural and a fast learner. She learned everything quickly. She enjoyed modeling and knew that this is what she was meant to do. She got nervous as she went for her audition and hoped that her skin color would not be a hindrance. But to her surprise, it turned out to be a blessing. The modeling agency loved her skin color and her beauty, and she was scouted to become their personal model. It was a very big agency, and Ada was very proud of herself. She called her mother and told her the good news, but her mother said all the money in the world is useless without a husband. Ada was sad, but she did not let her mother's words get to her. She kept practicing hard and was able to get money to rent her own apartment. She kept modeling, and after some months, Nkechi called her and told her that Uju had gotten a suitor. Ada was worried and felt Uju was too young. She had just clocked 20 and was not even done with school. She called Uju and told her to wait till she was done with school. Later in the evening, Nkechi called Ada, accusing her of trying to spoil her sister's marriage plans because she was jealous and had no husband. She even heard that the people from the town were calling her names, and Ada cried and wondered if it was bad for her to advise her sister. Good news came in for Ada. An international modeling agency abroad spotted her and she was called to model in New York. Ada was very excited for her advancement in her career and decided to come home and share the news. Nkechi was surprised her daughter was traveling for such opportunity and was happy for her, but she still bothered her about getting married. Uju had a traditional marriage and family members came to celebrate. She could hear their whispers about her not getting married despite being the first child, but she didn't pay attention to them. Ada wished them well and traveled to New York to work on the runway. She got a manager called Yobo, who was half African and half Asian. He managed her properly and her career rose to great heights. With time, he took great liking to Ada and proposed. She accepted and they both planned to come back to Nigeria and surprise her mother with the cash she had shipped to her country. She and Yobo were doing very well financially and bought a very expensive car and house in the city. Nkechi was surprised when she saw an expensive car pull up in her compound. She saw Ada come out with a man and she went over to welcome them. "You are welcome, oh. Who is this man?" Nkechi asked. "He's my manager. But when will you bring in a husband?" Nkechi interrupted. "You're already old though. It's better you use the cream I gave you," she said. Ada was ashamed and disappointed in her mother. She had not changed after all these years. Yobo was very surprised Nkechi would say that about her own daughter. "Mama, Ada and I are engaged. I'm shocked that you will say such words to your daughter in front of someone that is a stranger to you. Ada is very beautiful and she rejected a lot of suitors in the city to pursue her career, and now she is ready. She's only 27 and she's still very young. Why will you do this to her?" Yobo asked. Nkechi felt very ashamed. "Mama, Uju called me several times to complain about her husband maltreating her, and I have told her to leave him, but you insisted on her staying and told Uju I was jealous of her because I was unmarried. Mama, why? Uju was too little to get married, but you pushed her because of the money her husband keeps giving you." Ada said bitterly. "Look, people have gone through worse. She should work it out with him. Who will marry her if she leaves, especially now that she has a child?" Nkechi asked. "Mama, so you prefer for her to die and stay in a toxic marriage? Uju will leave that man and come with me. If you don't change your attitude, you won't see us again." Ada said and left. Yobo and Uju threw a big wedding, the biggest wedding ever thrown in that town. Everyone was shocked and they began to apologize to Ada and beg her for money. Ada forgave all of them for the insults and distributed some money and also built public tanks and made donations. She became the most respected woman in the town and Nkechi felt ashamed for what she had put her daughter through. She apologized to Ada and also to Uju for the harm she had done. Uju was not able to continue school because of her husband, but now Ada decided to sponsor her sister to school with her abroad. Ada finally traveled with her sister and husband, and she continued to progress as a model in the modeling industry.